guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Travis, and today we are here to pick up this 1986 Ford F350 Super Duty diesel, which is pretty cool. This one came with the 6.9, but it's not quite what's in it, which is why I was very interested in it. It's a crew cab, front and back seat, long bed, dually. I mean, this thing was set up for towing. This is a very big truck. And the reason why I was interested in this truck is because it has a 12-valve Cummins in it. Now, this gentleman, Jim, is selling this because he has too many projects and a lot of this stuff is already gone. There's a wrecking yard in Casa Grande that bought the majority of the contents of this yard, but this is his personal truck. Actually, here he is right now. Able to find it?
Yeah.
Alrighty. And hopefully we'll get it loaded if it fits. Yeah. This battery's a hair bit small for these trucks, but it's all I got. So we'll see if it cranks it.
Yeah, I'm sure it will. It doesn't take a whole lot to crank this. They only had one battery on these anyway.
Oh yeah.
On the early ones.
So let's see, I want to see how you...
Push that all the way forward.
Look at that. What a champ. Say you haven't ran it in like 6 months?
The hood's been open, that's why these are all rotten.
Bit of stuff coming out the tailpipe.
I've got another mirror up there.
No blow by. Hair bit, but not much. It's a good motor, man. I'm definitely gonna buy it. Got good oil pressure? Yeah. So I think Jim wants to keep some things, so we're going to clean out the back of this and then we'll see if we can even load this thing on the trailer. I don't even know. I might have to come back and drive it home. I don't even know. Can you watch me on the ramps?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's too wide.
It's like the same on both sides. I knew you'd find it.
Well, let's see what, let me pay you for this. I'll take the title,
Yeah.
and then let's go look at that other Cummins.
Okay. The thing has good compression. Yeah.
Yeah, well, it sounds good. I mean, it sounds just like mine.
Yeah.
So right now I'm driving, I'm turning around. Jim has another Cummins. It's a second gen. It's like a 94 second gen Cummins, but it's like a parts truck, and I'm interested in it for other reasons. I'm not looking to put this one back on the road if we can make a deal on it. I'd be interested in it for the drivetrain. This other Cummins, if we can make a deal on it while I'm here, I might be able to put that truck on my trailer so I don't come out of here with nothing and then come back with my dad or something to drive the Ford back. So this is the 94 I was interested in. pretty ratty. It's got a homemade looking hokey sort of flatbed on there. You really wouldn't want to use, I mean, look at this one over here. That's a flatbed. Built-in bumper with tail lights, hitch, nice headache rack with lights in it. That's a freaking flatbed. This is hokey. Rear bumper's trashed. There's no rear axle, no tires, no driver door. Somebody took a bite out of the seat. No steering column. Dash is gone. Door panels are tore up. Headliner's tore up. Truck is really roached. No tires at all. Tires and rims. But it's got the golden goose. It's got that 12 valve in it, and he said it's got 170,000 miles and it runs like a top. It'll run in the truck. It's got an automatic, which I like. Some people don't, but I like automatics. I would be interested in this truck to take the drivetrain and sell the rest of it. There's no title with this thing either, so it's just it's a lost cause. It would cost way too much to put this truck back on the road for what you would ever get out of it. Taking off all this scrap metal, and he's gonna load it with his forklift. I don't need any of these. I want to get as much off here as possible. Lifters, bearings. Oh well. Pistons. Part of the lawnmower. Oopsies. Alright, so we're back here at Jim's with Dad. We got the parts truck home, and now we're gonna start this thing up and see if it'll make it home. Yeah, we put water in it. Holy seats are hot. Oh my gosh. Let's see. Push this in and give her a little. Uh-oh. Had to get the truck over here, get the cables on it. I don't know, it could be a drain on it, or that battery's just kind of small anyway. There we go. I can't remember if it was, I think it's down this river, yeah. Dad's gonna let me go first in case this thing shuts down on us. We'll get this thing home and we'll get it in the shop when I get a chance, and then we'll start running through it, seeing what's up, seeing what's wrong with it, and probably put this one up for sale once we get it straightened out mechanically. So I've had the truck sitting here for a few days now. I've been working on the Model A and the 62 Cadillac. If you guys want to see that video, it's just the one right below this one. So this one's been here for a minute, and it's time. Let's pull it up under the carport and get our eyes on it, and you know, go through it with more of a fine-tooth comb than what we could when we were getting it. I've been saying this in every video leading up to it, but the duct tape drags here in Tucson, Arizona at the Tucson Dragway, September 27th and 8th. Saturday the 28th, Dad and I are going to be there at the duct tape drags. So if you're thinking about going or whatever, planning on going, we're on the fence, go. It's a great event. Dad and me went last year, met so many great people, so many subscribers and people who view the channel. It's really our only chance throughout the year to meet anyone who watches the channel, because all the events that happen are across the country. We just can't go, it's too far, and we're working on videos. So it's a great opportunity for us to go. It's like a once a year thing. We get to get out in the public eye. So anyway, let's continue. So to start it, you gotta push this in, and then I'll make sure it's in neutrality. There's a button here. He said that he built this truck, he did the swap, he did all that good business, and then he was having overheating problems. I guess a freeze plug fell out while he was driving it, I guess, and all the water went out of it, and then he overheated it, and then he ended up cracking the head, and then he put another head on it, but he put a intercooled head on it, so from a 91, 2, or 3, and the injectors are different from a non-intercooled to an intercooled. And so he had to get different injectors to put in the head, because he couldn't use his, he was going to reuse his injectors from the 89, and he couldn't. And then he said, after I put the correct injectors in it, I never had the same power out of it again. It was gutless. It never pulled the same. And I noticed that driving home, when I would be in gear and I would hit the gas, it just like no throttle response. Now in neutral you get throttle response, like you can rev it up, but like when you're under load or when the truck's pulling itself, it's just gutless. Like it just, you can mash it to the floor and it doesn't do anything. So we're gonna have to address that. We're gonna have to address the brakes. I guess just see what else works, you know. I mean, the goal here is to get this thing legal beagle, ready to put down the road. I'm not restoring it, I'm not painting it, I'm not, you know, making this thing like a SEMA truck. I just want it to be a good, reliable, get in it and go truck. So I guess we can start anywhere. So let's just see if all the lights work. Headlights, do we have signals? Do we have anything? I don't know. Right signal. I hear clicking. Front works. Let's go 100 feet back to the rear of the Titanic. All right. Right signal works. So far we're on a winning streak. Left. Nope. All right, back's working. Headlights. Nothing. Well, we got one parking light. And I can tell there's wires hanging everywhere, so it's just gonna be a nightmare. I can see it. See it now. Oh, cab lights are on. Let's click the dimmer switch. Nope. I think the running lights work. Let's try brake. So no, no brake, brake, no brake, brake. When people tell me they overheated a Cummins, it always worries me, because these trucks are very, very tough and durable, and if you overheat one, then you were abusing it. So I'm just, you know, doing my due diligence. But if you look at this, I don't see super bad signs, you know, like the water is not murky. It's clean and clear, and I've driven it some, you know, so there's not oil getting in the water. And I had a Cummins once that right there where the head gasket meets the block, right here, that seam, it always ran, but it would bubble right there. Like literally when you would drive it, it was wet right here, and it would just bubble, like pressure was getting out. This one looks dry as a pin where the head meets the block, and these always leak right here now that they're 30 years old. These valve covers, see how it's cracking? These valve cover gaskets, all these galleys right here where the injectors are will just be wet with oil, wet with whatever. I just had to do the valve cover gaskets on my 89, but I can't believe these aren't leaking. But It's dry. It's dry all the way back there, which is a good sign. Coming around here, another thing you're looking for is the block damp and wet? That just is signs of leaks and abuse and all kinds of stuff. And you can see, well, that freeze plug back there I think is like one of those expandable universal freeze plugs, but the block is clean. I mean, the block isn't wet, the block isn't damp with anything, so that tells me it wasn't leaking anywhere. And even if you go all the way back here, you know, the block is dry as a bone. So the head gasket's not leaking, no leaks up top anywhere that would be scary as a new owner. And then coming over here, you can see that it's a little bit damp, but I mean, I think my truck is the same way. It's not really that big of a deal. I can see right there, see it's wet right there, but that's the breather tube. So you're getting crankcase stuff coming out there, so that's not really a leak. And also there's a valve lift or tappet cover behind there that leaks after a long time. So that's not really cause for concern. And the injection pump, it's not leaking any fuel because if you get a leak right here, you're toast. I just had that on my 89 and I had to have the injection pump rebuilt. So I know a little bit about these VE pumps, and there's no fuel, it's not damp or wet, it's dry. I can tell it's been rebuilt because you can see these paint marks. And this cap is gone. That's like your star wheel, your smoke wheel or whatever. Whenever people try and turn up the power and they do stuff to that screw right there. But they put those paint marks on them to know if you take that pump back to them and say, oh, you did it wrong. They're going to say, well, did you tune it up? Did you do stupid stuff to it? Because that voids the warranty. And that paint mark makes it to where if you unscrew any of that, the paint breaks, and then they know that you messed with it. So this pump's been rebuilt sometime in its life, and I asked him about that, and he said he didn't have it rebuilt. So somebody before him did it, but this has been rebuilt, which is not bad. I don't really care. It's fine. It looks like he hooked the Cummins power steering pump up to the Ford box, which is pretty cool. So the power steering is all hooked up. He had to sort of do a makeshift thing for the radiator hoses, so he's got that, and then he's got like that elbow adapter which goes to the bottom. Not bad. I mean, it works. It's not leaking. The water's still full. What I think is cool too is the AC pump is down there, and here's the AC lines, these two lines, and he had this hooked up, he said, so that those AC lines go over to the top to the condenser and then go here to the evaporator. And he said it was working, and then it quit working, like, I don't know, there was a leak or something, but it did work, so that's kind of neat. So I have the headlights on, got my test light grounded, pulled the pigtail off the headlight, and putting it in each of the 3 prongs. We're not getting any power. Okay, so here's the fuse box. So we're getting power at the fuse box. One of these should be getting power. And it's not. So the dimmer switch may work. We're losing it. And this thing is such a wiring mess. We're gonna have to take out this headlight switch. Oh, I don't want to do that. Alright, so here's headlight power. The dimmer switch is unplugged, and if I go to plug in the dimmer switch, the light goes out. Alright, so let me tell you what I got going on here. So I have that jumper lead plugged into the fuse box from constant power, and I have it hooked to my test light because I can't put the jumper in the headlight switch. I got the needle of the test light jammed in where the headlight wire goes. So I'm feeding power to it with the jumper wire. The test light's on, headlight switch is on, all that. And let's see here. All right, you can already see we got headlights, right? Boom. But if I hit the dimmer switch, let's see, you can see I hit the dimmer switch, and I think that's my brights because that one works and that one's not. But I think this might be burnt out because you can see there's a hole in the glass. So that might be burnt out. But the headlights, they do work. So we have verification that wires aren't 8. I think that headlight switch is bad. So we know we need a headlight switch, so we'll just leave all that in there and get one, or maybe we'll start making a list of parts. And so right now I want to see where we're leaking brake fluid, because when I drove this home, he had some random thing of .3 in the back. I threw it in here and it's leaked it all out, so it's got a bad leak. Actually, I don't want to pour any more of my good stuff in there. I think it's coming out of the master. Calipers look dry. I don't see damp anywhere, but it does look like our our pads are basically gone. Looks dry as a bone over there. Same thing back here. You'll see it'll be, the wheel cylinder's leaking, it'll be wet. Nothing. And nothing. So, I don't know. Let's keep pumping it. We'll see if that master drips at all. This one's got some pretty big lug nuts, so I'm going to use the air on this one. Got some birds hanging out. They made a nest by the old hose reel. Look at that little dove. Alright, I won't bother you. Ugh. These are like 1.25 inches. Yeah. 1 1/8, 1/16. Whoa. This one's not stuck either, which is good. It's not metal to metal, which is good. I'm happy about that. But they're thinner. So you can see right here, I mean, there's still a little bit of meat left, but not a lot. You can't see the notch in them. See how they're cracking? They're dry rotted. So we'll probably do pads and front hoses. Rotors look good. While we're under here, we'll give the truck some maintenance. It's not necessary. Like tar. Needed to be done. Who knows when its last oil change was. I just never assume people take good care of things before I get them. So you just have to go through everything, front and rear and to the side. First time that's ever happened. Because I own a 12 valve and I'm periodically working on them all the time, I keep filters just in stock because they're all the same for the 12 valves. The oil filters are the same for years. I bought a pack of like 10 of these filters. I'll just zip one of these out. Look at that, friggin' wicks too, I think. Oh boy, there's a wicks. Fuel filters, there it is. Hold on. And then I always keep, I put 1540 in everything. People say, what do you put in those old cars that you got? That's what I put. That's it. No additives, no nothing. Everything, the Model A, all the old cars, my Cadillac. So we are going to continue work on this 86 Ford. It's the next day, but I have another deal that I just made that's very, very pressing and time sensitive, and we got to get this truck off this trailer right now. I just bought 2 other Cummins drivetrains down in Bisbee. I got the 2 tires on the trailer. Curl it. Curl it. So I'm on the way right now. I'm probably halfway there. I stopped and ate lunch right at like Benson, and it's about 100 miles south of Tucson, Bisbee is, and it's pretty close to the border of Mexico actually. Naco, it's close to this place called Naco. If you get close enough down here, you can actually see the border wall. It's pretty wild. So another 50 miles to go, maybe an hour driving, and then we'll get there and see what it's all about. Now, he had conveniently a forklift to unload these whenever he unloaded them, but he doesn't have the forklift now, so we get the joy of trying to get him on the trailer with a cherry picker. So it'll take a minute. This is an all-day ordeal. Alright, so I just got here. He said the motors are right here. So this one was an intercooled one. I can tell by how the pipe comes out of the intake. So this should be a A518, which is a 4-speed. The 89 and 90s had a 3-speed. The overdrive is in the rear units right here on these. This right here, this is how you control the overdrive. The solenoid, you electronically control it. So that's the 4-speed. And everything, it's got the starter on it. I mean, all this stuff costs money if you don't have it. Here's your fuel filter, which is kind of in an odd spot. They're usually right here, so I don't know, it's like some auxiliary thing. Here's your lift pump. Here's your injection pump. Looks like they tore this up a little bit, probably with the chains. Bent the fan blades. They weren't nice to it moving in, I'll tell you that. Spins. I mean, it's got everything on it, man. I mean, nothing's missing, man. Alternator, belt still on it. I wonder if it's still got oil in the thing. Ooh. No oil. No. They might have drained it out, saved the oil or something. He said he broke this valve cover like a week ago, moving the engine. Oh great, you broke the stud right off in the rocker head. That's, yeah, okay. This one's definitely a 92 or 93 because it's got the tire, this is like a speed sensor or whatever, a throttle position sensors for the transmission. This one's got the VE pump. This is for an intercooled motor too, so this is a 91 2 or 3 model. See, this one's got the correct location for the fuel filter. The other one's like right here. This one's like right here. It's got the starter on it. Turbos spins. Okay. I see the harmonic balancer moving.
People want them. You go, Dad, look at them. I'm like, all right, fine. I go, just put it on there. Phone blew up.
Phone blew up?
Yeah, okay, can I come down and get them tonight? I'm like, well, it's 8 o'clock. I'm in bed. I'm like, hey, I'm in bed. Tell me I'm in bed tomorrow. And then, I think you talked to her last night.
No, this morning.
Today. Oh, today?
Yeah, I looked on Facebook and it said just listed. I didn't know it was last night.
So you'll have that truck in for the rest of your life then?
I love that. It's only got like 160,000 on it.
Those are badass trucks.
Dude, they're the best.
Yeah. I'm almost positive this is the one with the 168,000 on it.
Okay. Let's get it to the side. Let me.
I thought we were standing.
Oh. Yeah, yeah.
You ready?
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead and let it down. Yeah. Yeah.
You want to lay it this way, put a strap on it?
I'll just pulling over just to check my straps and make sure everything is good. A little bit of tranny leaking. And that's pretty solid. This hasn't moved, but this is Bisbee. I also wanted to stop here to show you guys this. Kind of like a city on a hill. They built all these houses on these mountains. Bisbee's an old mining town, and the open pit copper mine is still there. It's just down the road of maybe a mile. And yeah, this is kind of like a quirky town where people come and stay the night and everything, and it's kind of laid out real interesting. Actually, the first J.C. Penney in Arizona was here in Bisbee. The little mosaic tile in front of the storefront is still there. I've seen it. It's pretty cool. If I can find a picture, I'll put it up. And then actually, on the way back too, we're going to be passing Tombstone, which I don't really have time to visit right now, but yeah, a lot of people like Tombstone, home of the OK Corral shooting and the Wild Wild West. Alright, so it's the next day. Everything made it home safe and sound. I'll unload it here in a bit, but right now I want to check the brakes on this. I gotta find where it's leaking. I don't know where it's leaking, but I'm just gonna try and bleed them and use them and find the leak. It's gotta show itself sometime, and it's sat overnight a few nights, still full of fluid, so I don't know, it's kind of being elusive. Can you pump them again?
Alright. They're not even moving.
This bleeder might be plugged. Yeah, it's really clogged. Alright. We're getting something. Again. Again.
Alright.
Why is it like eking out? Again.
Alright.
I don't know. It's like eking out real slow, like it's plugged, or either the master cylinder's not pumping pressure or something's plugged, because it's coming out like slow. Go ahead. It should be like spewing up. There's no air in it, but it's just coming out kind of slow. It should be like pissing out. I think that master's weak. down the line. I did do the fuel filter, and we got oil. We'll check the trans now. The old Get Rag 360. Oh yeah, it's up to the top. Do one more dip. Yeah, okay, good. Good. Easy money right there. Let's go back to the differential. Let's put a little bit in there. Ah, dang it. Well, that was stupid. Why did I do that? Alright. That's it right there. Alright, so we got all of our parts from the parts house this morning. We got a water pump, because I just think it's seeping. Pads, master, belt, headlight switch, and a headlight, and rear brake hose, because I found 2 new hoses in the truck. Front ones. Yeah, I can see it from here. And I put a new bulb in this. I don't know if I told you guys, but new bulb. Yes. I think that's highs. Dims, highs, dims. Good deal. All right. Well, all of our lights work. We can put this back together and we will be legal beagle lights wise. On to the brakes. I don't know, I just think something is going on with this master. It's not doing its job. I don't know what this other brake line goes to. It runs in the truck. I don't really know what that's for. I just had to go get this master cylinder bleeder kit. Actually, don't have one. I have never had a master bleeder kit, so. top's in, bottom's in, bolted to the rear end and all that. The only thing that has me worried is that looks like a kink right there. This is something that he'd made up, and I don't know. Got both of the new hoses put on the front. Got the new master on. Gonna put some fluid in it and bleed them and see if it shoots out any harder, because you know, you just can't have a spongy pedal. That's better. Do it again. There we go. Okay, again. Alright, so we got all the brakes bled, we got all the hoses on it, and the pedal feels great now. It's nice and solid. That's exactly what we were looking for. And any possibility of rubber lines being like closing in on themselves, they collapse after so long, there's no way that's going to restrict us now. So I'm happy with the braking system right now. I'm doing the pads, got the calipers off, and so these needed to be changed even though they weren't metal to metal, because you can see they're kind of thin, but see all these cracks? These feel kind of smooth. This one feels really smooth, but every single one of these has a bunch of cracks in it. And obviously these ones are the brand new ones, and these ones are rougher. Just from what he told me, you know, he was not nice to this truck. He hauled all kinds of things, and I think he was really using them brakes hard with whatever he was pulling, and that's why the master cylinder, I think, gave out. The pads are burnt up and worn because he was going down hills really loaded, just overusing the truck. So these are definitely necessary. Now I pressed these pistons back into the caliper, and I can't use a regular like caliper reset tool, so I got a piece of wood and I sort of cockeyed it in there like that, and I got this C-clamp in, and I was able to pull them in that way. It seems to have worked. See it? Yeah, it's pulling them back. This one's actually going easier than the other one did. Not bad. We're ready. So what I want to do is go on just a little test drive. One, I want to see how the brakes work, and two, I put a new fuel filter on. I think I said earlier, you know, it's got no throttle response. Maybe the new fuel filter cleared it up. Maybe the fuel filter was toast and it wasn't letting fuel through. Yeah, it's got brakes. They're working now. They weren't before. Oh yeah. It's a little more responsive now. Brakes. Yeah. It's better than it was, that's for sure, throttle response wise. I mean, it's not going to be a race car, but I just want it to drive like it's supposed to. Yeah, the brakes definitely are working. I'm happy with that. There's a friggin' squeaking noise up there that's getting on my nerves. It's like a belt or something. It's just wait.
How's she doing?
Good. Brakes work a lot better. Like before, you could gun it and it wouldn't do anything.
Was the fuel filter pretty nasty?
I don't know.
Pour it out.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how plugged it was by looking down in it.
A lot of times they get crap at the bottom and they just get restricted.
I mean, it didn't look like it was, you know, tarred up.
Brakes still spongy?
See? I don't know if it's just because this truck is so dang heavy or what.
Oh yeah. Well, it's speeding up. Well, it might be the gear sets. This thing might have real tall gear sets in it.
I mean, it gets there on speed. It just, as soon as you hit the gas, it doesn't just lug you. It gets there. The brakes work, but they're not.
They go down quite a ways. Maybe the back one. Well,
I adjusted them. I just adjusted them before I went.
sounds all right. Yeah.
Check and see if it's charging. Nothing. 12.5, that's not good. It should be like 13 something. There it goes. It's charging now, what the heck? No, it's not. That's not right. Those numbers are weird. It runs better with the fuel filter. It's definitely not as laggy, but it's still kind of gutless. Like first is good, second is good, but that jump from 2 to 3 is like a dog. you can still get into it and it just doesn't do anything. I know it doesn't need to be a race truck, but it just, I don't know, the power's not there. And also the brakes work and they work good and they stop the truck, but it doesn't stop the truck on a dime. So I don't know if it's the master, these new masters, they suck. I don't know if it's weak or if the rear shoes are also glazed over from heat, you know, and they're not helping stop the truck and it's kind of just working on the fronts. I don't know. Might bust the rear tires off and take the hub off and just see what they look like, you know, see if they're glazy, if they're smooth or whatever. But I want to check the fuel first. So let's think about that. I need you to get in the truck. I need you to pull a trailer with this thing up a really steep hill and figure out how to use the gears to not overheat it. I'm just kidding, get in. All I need you to do is hit the gas pedal like when I tell you to. I want to see if...
Is it bleeding it?
No, we're not bleeding the brakes. This is different. There you go. So it should go, you know, it should go until it stops on that screw right there. I just want to make sure it's getting all the play it can. So go ahead and push it down. Yeah, don't do it fast, just... Okay, is that all the way? Yeah, I mean we're getting play. Let it out. Okay. I don't think that little itty bit is gonna give us everything we need. I mean it's traveling. Let it out. In. Yeah, I mean that's plenty of play. All right, we're good. That's all I needed. So we're getting full travel out of our throttle cable. I just wanted to make sure I'm checking all the basics because injection pumps and diesel fuel delivery systems are complicated, especially when you start getting into injection pump stuff. A couple of other things that it could be is the lift pump could be weak, which is right here. So that's a lift pump right there, and all it is a mechanical fuel pump, just like what you would find on any small block Chevy, on a Ford, on a Chrysler, anything. It just uses the cam lobe to pump, you know, 6 psi of fuel as if it was supplying a carburetor, but instead of supplying a carburetor, it's supplying the injection pump, which is this thing. The injection pump does not create any kind of suction to pull fuel from anywhere. It has to be supplied with fuel, and that's what the lift pump does. If the lift pump is going bad, then it's not supplying the injection pump with enough fuel to give it the power it needs when you hit the pedal. But usually mechanical lift pumps, fuel pumps, they either work or they don't. I mean, I don't know, they usually know weak point, they give out and that's it. The only thing I am seeing is, see how that lift pump is kind of wet all around the bottom and it looks like it's seeping, you know, like to the left of it it's dry and right there in that area it's kind of wet. So I don't know if it's leaking internally or something. That's one thing to check. Another thing is the fuel shutoff solenoid. So see where that wire goes to that prong right there? That is supplied 12 volts, and that's what opens up the solenoid, and that's what lets fuel go through. And when that's off, fuel doesn't go through. But sometimes they can act funky where if they just get old, and sometimes it might be restricting your fuel. I don't know. But it starts up every single time, so I know that it's working. I mean, it's pumping. Let's try the other one. I don't really tell a major difference, but we'll still put this on and save that old one for maybe one of those 2 engines over there. Might need a lift pump. Always keep this stuff around, but since this truck is going to be driven, I still think it's good to put this on there. Alright, we're getting fuel. So we can crank that shut. Black smoke. Oh no. Well, good news is the lift pump is working. It's not dripping anywhere. But coming up around here, I pulled up and I saw this drip, and that looks to be our water pump. I think it's give it up. I got a new belt anyways, so we'll take the belt off, do the water pump and the belt. And I don't know, there's a chirping. I don't know if it's the belt or that belt tensioner pulley or what. So this is the O-ring that goes in this groove that seals it, and this one's just old and, I don't know, leaky. Alright, so I got the new water pump on there. I just cannot get the camera in to show you guys, but I cleaned off the surface on the block, put the O-ring on, put a little bit of silicone on there, bolted it on, and I'm going to run a little bit of water through this rad, and look at that. Rusty water, man. Look at that. Okay, so it's after lunch, and I came to check on the truck, and it's dripping coolant still, so I was like, well, I must have put the water pump on wrong. I don't even know how that's possible. I mean, it's literally the easiest water pump in the world to put on. I was about to take it off and, I don't know, clean it off better or something, the surfaces, but let me get you in here. Hold up. See that? Look at that. It's coming from somewhere over here. It's not coming from the water pump. That's weird. Well, I think we have found our leak. Right behind the fan pulley, there is a freeze plug, and I can see it from here. See it weeping? All that rust? Yeah, that freeze plug is definitely shot. Oh well, at least it got a new water pump. Alright, I'm dealing with the craziest predicament right now, and I'm not really sure what to do about it. I got this freeze plug out, and I went and looked up what size freeze plug it needed. This freeze plug is from O'Reilly, and this one is from Merle's, now Napa. And it's a 2.25 inch, 2 1/4 inch freeze plug. Okay? If you put one on top of the other, and they fit, I mean, it's the same size. It's the same size. It's a 2.25 inch freeze plug. If I try to put this in, look, I can put it all the way through the block. You're not supposed to be able to do that. And then here's the other one from O'Reilly. This one's like a little bit better. But if I push, see, it's not fitting right. If I push hard enough, I can push that through the block. What in the world is going on there? See light on both sides? I was thinking if I put a socket in there and tapped it, it might expand it more. Alright, see how it looks a little bit flatter now instead of that cone? Let's see if that helped anything. It's better. Yeah, I mean, it definitely fits in there more snug, but I should have to hit it with a hammer, you know what I mean? That's... Come on, little buddy. Put the freeze plug from the other Cummins in here. You can see that it's still dripping. The back, the sides, and the front freeze plug are the same plug. The two new ones and this one don't quite fit. It's not real snug fit. I put silicone around it and it's just loose. But right now it's getting late. It's dark. I'm kind of tired. I've been chasing this problem all day long. I don't know. I called O'Reilly's to see if they had one of those universal rubber expansion plugs, you know, with the nut in the middle. And they do, but they don't go up to 2 1/4. They go up to 2 to 2 1/8. I don't know. I've never ran into a problem where freeze plugs just go through the hole. I don't understand that. So anyway, we'll figure something out. It's what?
Egg shaped.
Oh.
Oh, about 5,000. So it's small there. 271 to 274. Okay, turn it down, buddy.
MFM presents a Bottoberfest at Union Public House on Saturday, September 21st. Join us for a night of delicious drink at this fest.
To provide career training and support services right here in the community today.
Zeroing itself right now. Okay. Current commands. We'll go to manual mode. Turn and face. 1, that's good. Wrap it over there. What's going on? Okay. 30 in there. So now we're at 30. Should stop. Okay, now let's cut the OD.
Oh, that was the whole chamfer? Like it, no more cut? That was all it needed to do, was that?
Huh?
Oh.
What else you want?
No, nothing, I don't know.
You want something else?
No.
Okay, so the hard part is going to be to get this off, right?
Get this tool out of the cup?
Mm-hmm.
But finding those people can be a major hassle.
Looks pretty straight now, don't it? Good and solid. We also have that we can hit it out of. Let's get a socket and we'll just tap it out.
Okay. So after we tapped the freeze plug out, it definitely fit better. It didn't just go straight through. I tapped it in with a socket, and I put this bearing set on there. And see that green stuff? It's like Loctite. Let's see, try and smooth it around there. So we'll let that set, fill it up with water, and see if it leaks. This is the stuff that Dave let me borrow. It's like Caterpillar bearing mount. Yeah, pretty good used bottle there. So it's the next day. I let this thing set overnight without water in it to let that bearing mount set cure. I didn't want to prematurely put water on it. I just really wanted to make sure we were good to go. I just put some water in the rad, and I don't see anything leaking down here. Looks pretty dry. I think it's a little damp just from previous, but yeah, you would see a stream of stuff. So I don't see anything right now. The radiator, you can see that circle there. A fan hit it, something, and I don't know if it's dripping, because the radiator wasn't leaking. It was not leaking antifreeze, only from there. I don't know if that's just what I've done, like by spilling on it, or if it's actually leaking. I can't really tell. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. Something happened here. Also, before I put this on, I'm able to get a good look at this thing now while it's out, but look at this fan shroud that he made. This thing, I don't know how he made this, but obviously the Cummins engine, he still used the Ford radiator, so he had to adapt this or make this fan shroud to fit the Cummins engine. But I mean, it's homemade, but he did a good job. I mean, check that out. I mean, look, he even did the flare around the whole thing, bolted it together, welded it. You can see right here, it's welded all the way down, welded right here. It looks a little funny, but I'm actually pretty impressed with this thing. I don't see anything coming out where it was. I don't see anything coming out on the ground. I'm gonna just let the truck run for a bit while I clean up some of this antifreeze mess and my tools, and then we'll keep on, you know, going down the line with it. So I ran the truck for quite a while I was cleaning things up. This is a hose, not the truck. Cleaned off my tools and stuff so I can just have a blank slate. So what we're doing now is we're trying to tackle this charging issue, because it was, remember, the voltage was acting funky. It was like 11 and it was 12, 14, I don't know. And then I put the probes on it today and it was 12.4, 12.5. It should be like 13.8, 13.7, something around those area. So I put my little probe in this wire. This big wire goes to the alternator, and it's coming around here, right here, right here, and you can see that it's hooked to the starter solenoid. So this is like power on all the time. This is constant power. This is the charge wire, I think, actually, that feeds back into the battery. So since this is an 89 Cummins motor, it should have an external voltage regulator. The 90, I think 1, 2s, and 3s, I think had an internal one, or maybe the 92s and 3s only, but anyway, this year had an external one. And I found it. The external regulator is right here, but this wiring mess is all stupid. I think one of these should have key on power going to it, which is this wire. So this top blue wire, okay, goes right here and it plugs into here. I just unplugged it, and the blue wire goes to the alternator. So I'm not getting key on power. If you look at this blue wire, one tees off and goes to the voltage regulator, and the other one tees off and goes right here to this weird looking thing, and then it goes to this relay, and it's not getting key on power wherever it's plugged into that relay. So I got the probe in here, then it's off, on, off, on. So there is key on power there, so I don't know, we'll try and tap into that and see if it starts charging. There it is. Just didn't have key on power. All right, fix that. Good deal. The reason this is taking so long is because I don't have an 1 1/8" socket for a 1/2" drive where I could get my gun on. I only have 1 3/4 drive, which all I have is a breaker bar, so I'm having to do it the old-fashioned way. Oh, that's what I was hoping to not see. Oh, man. This is a nightmare right here. I know the 89 and 93s had it where it was like this, where the drum is connected to the hub. So in order to check the brakes, you have to take all these bolts out, take the axle out, take the hub off, and it just sucks. The second gen Cummins, 94 to 98, had different style drums where this was part of the rear end and the drum slid over all this. So you could just pull the tires off and pull the drum off without having to take the axle out. I mean, it's stopping, and I don't really want to take this whole axle apart. You're just going to break something that wasn't broke before, have a leak you didn't have before. No, I'm going to put it back together. I'm not going to deal with that.
Man, I've probably told you before, and you probably remember it. You remember that time you set me up when you was a little guy? I was working all day long. It was cold. I thought for sure I had you, man. I thought for sure I had you. You go outside, Dad? I don't know where Mom put the gloves. I don't know where she put your gloves. And I said, well, if you find some gloves, we'll go outside. Oh my God, you was gone for about 5 minutes. All I heard was flying in that bedroom and everything, man. Pretty soon you come running out of there with them
Making
M&M plastic gloves. There was only 3 fingers. They was
M&M
gloves is what they was. Oh, you got me good, man. You got me good.
I'm gonna get all the big stuff out, and then we'll shovel this dirt out. But this is the mud flat. keep this crowbar. This looks like something that you could probably use. Okay, so as far as the 12 valve Cummins swapped Ford goes, I think I'm where I want to be on it as far as getting it ready to sell to the next person. The engine starts up first try and it runs really good. It shifts really good. The transmission doesn't make any weird noises in any of the gears. The get rag, when they start going out, they'll pop out a third gear real bad. This one doesn't do that. It doesn't grind in any of the gears, so the transmission's good. All the fluids have been checked or changed or serviced or filled or whatever, so all the fluids are good. It stops good, new master, new front brakes, all bled and adjusted, so the brakes work good. All the lights work, headlights, tail lights, signals, parking lights, even the reverse lights, which is kind of cool. A parking brake even works in this thing. He hooked it up to the Dodge end. It's got dual tanks, which and you can switch between the two. There's a switch in there, and he hooked that up, which is kind of neat. Cleaned it out, vacuumed it out, power washed it, all that good business. The pros, this is like the king of work trucks. Everybody wants, maybe not everybody, but a lot of people like the Cummins engine because it's legendarily reliable and powerful, but they don't like the Dodge bodies because they fall apart. Ford bodies are a lot better, I will admit that. A lot of people want to do the swap, but they don't want to spend the time to do it. This has already been done. You got the best engine with the best body. And on top of that, it's a crew cab, 4-door, it's big, it's a long bed, it's a dually, it's got a gooseneck hitch. It's a great tow pig. Cons, it is literally a bare bones work truck. You have no gauges except the oil pressure because obviously Ford gauges and then the Dodge engine, so you don't have a speedometer, you don't have an odometer. He had the air conditioning working, but it doesn't work now. You don't have a temp gauge, any of that. I mean, if I would have done the swap, I would have put like the pod gauges on the dash and hooked all that up, but that is just a whole other issue that I don't want to get into because it's just going to take weeks to do it. So we'll go ahead and park this truck out with the other line of vehicles that are ready to sell. What I want to move on to now is seeing if those engines I bought in Bisbee are good runners. And if they're good runners, we can throw those bad boys up for sale too. Good Lord, these engines are heavy. There it is. It's just a little bit bent. Try and bend this back to shape. No. There it is. All right, now we got some throttle. This is bent down. Gosh, man. Be a little nicer, you know? There you go. Man, why? There you go. There you go. We can just leave that like that, right? I mean, what's that gonna hurt? Intake. So like I was showing earlier, I don't really see any oil. So we'll throw some oil in it. See, this is a perfect example of why keeping old oil around is beneficial, because this is perfect for this situation, you know. So far, so good. There it is. So this is the main feed line to the injection pump. So now that we know it's getting fuel, we can hook power to it and start bleeding the injectors. Well, if the injectors start bleeding, then you know the injection pump's working, because it's locked and loaded. She's wound for sound. And all the injectors on these 12 valves, they're 17 millimeter. I don't know why I always remembered that specific thing on these. 17 mil. You want to loosen the injectors? 17. Go get your 17. Oh, eh. It just sounds like a low battery.
Starts getting oil.
Kind of wish I'd see that one and that one getting it a little more. All the injectors are closed, the fuel solenoid is hooked up. It should start.
It's getting rich.
Alright, I got the wood ready in case it tries to go ballistic.
the motor.
It's weird. I wonder why it doesn't want to idle.
And maybe is the idle screw out of it or gone or.
No, everything looks completely untouched. See if we can crank it up again. I need to get a video of it running, because when I put it on Facebook, you know, that's everybody's big question. Is the motor good? Is it run? Is it bad? What? If you just show a video of it running, you know, you can put videos on Facebook now. It clears up a lot of questions and might help it sell faster, but it won't run. It won't run unless I'm giving it the throttle. That's my question here. So, okay, we got the fuel solenoid. So what I did was just put a wrench in there. See, it goes down like that, but if you just cock it back a little and put the wrench in there, it idles it up enough. So hold on, just put the wrench in there to wedge it forward a little bit so I don't have to keep my hand on it. Getting oil. Oh. Wow. Why did it do that? The wrench worked its way out. And see, when I unplug the fuel solenoid, it shuts off. So the fuel solenoid's working. I can also hear it clicking. Hear it? Just easy off heavy duty oven cleaner. We'll go ahead and power wash it before we take pictures. We'll just make it look a little better, you know what I mean? Give it some curb appeal. Alright, so we got the second engine on the block, and we got oil down here. It's not quite to the safe mark yet, so we'll just throw some more in it. There we go, that's full travel right there. So I pushed this pin in, and you can see there's some diesel dripping out, and I smelled it, and it smells like either bad gasoline or super old diesel. It doesn't smell right. So this is some aftermarket filter they did that I don't know what they did, but I'm gonna take it off of there, and Dad said to drain it, which might be a good idea. Or I don't know if the factory filters will fit this plug. So I got one more clean, good filter that I could use just for testing purposes, but I'd want it back. So I was emptying it out and there's a bunch of crud in there. So I want to get rid of this entirely. I don't even want to risk hurting this engine if it ain't already. Crack these injectors, see if they'll bleed. I had to bypass the whole fuel system. I'll show you in a second. So this external fuel filter they had, this was dumb. This is totally unnecessary. I took the filter off. You saw it was dirty. It's not the same size as a factory Cummins filter. I don't know where to get one like that, so I just said screw the whole thing. So I have an electric fuel pump running up to the inlet on the injection pump, and this is just a 12 volt 6 psi low pressure fuel pump, which is all you need and all you want, because you think that injection pump looks really industrial and buff and steel, and it just looks burly, like it can take whatever. And actually, if you put too much pressure to that, you can blow the seals out of it. It doesn't take a whole lot either, so just a low pressure pump, just as much as this would put out, and then a filter, because we don't have one, and there's no filter system in the injection pump. It expects clean fuels. That injection pump, they're working in microns, thousandths in there. You do not want to be putting any debris in there. Should be filling up the injection pump. Wow, that does not sound good. Starting to get fuel. That sounds bad. Just sounds terrible. Crank sounded really funky, and it's like the starter won't even crank it. So I took the starter off, and I'm gonna see if I can, I don't know, do it by hand. Okay. It's moving freely. What in the world? I wonder if that starter's bad or something. That's weird. Oops. See if I pull it out, it'll stay out. Yeah, okay. Well, that had me worried. I thought the motor might be locked up. And I was like, of course, one good, you know, and you got to get popped once, but it could be the starter, because the motor turns free. Still in the running, we're still in the race. I think I got another starter for these trucks in here that I pulled off an engine. If I do, I will have lucked out. Oh, boop, 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 boop. What do you see there? Hold on, hold on, hold on. Looky there. Brand spanking new. There we go. That's the ticket. Alright, let's put this thing in and try and bleed this thing. Let's see if that's any better. Much better. This thing is acting like a bad omen. It doesn't want me to start it. The fuel pump, the ground just came off. I didn't even know. I tried to plug it in, it wouldn't work. Ground came off right there in the grommet. Had to go get Dad's fuel pump, hook it up. So let's try this again. Starting to now. Oh, crap. Well, oil pump works. Dang it. Get some oil around this thing. Crank them shut. I saw it spewing out. See, I made a big mess. No? What's the problem? Oh, fuel solenoid's not on. Ooh. That's not good. Well, it's spewing oil out of the engine, which is not good at all. That's a lot too, holy crap. So here's the thing with the engine. I'm still not done with it just yet. I want to try one more thing. Immediately in my head you think, oh, well, the engine's bad. Something in there is giving out. Well, here's the thing. If the engine was consuming tons of oil, if it was in the cylinders, then you'd be getting a lot of blue smoke. I didn't see any blue smoke. It's just straight up oil. The only thing after the combustion process that gets fed oil is the turbo. So what I want to do is I want to take the turbo off and somehow cap off this line to where oil can't get out of it, because this is fed right here, full pressure oil to lube the turbo up so that it can rotate easy. Now the seal in the turbo can go bad and it can just let oil go straight out of the exhaust. So if we take the turbo off and cap the line and you start it up and there's nothing coming out of the actual exhaust, then you're good. That is an extremely important point to note if you're going to sell this thing. Because if you're selling it and people see oil coming out, they're going to say, oh, the engine's bad, I'll give you 500 bucks. No, the turbo is an easily replaceable, rebuildable part. It needs to be stressed that the engine is fine, it's just the turbo. But we got to get to the bottom of that to make sure that that's the case. Because that's going to make all the difference when you go to sell it. So these definitely look like they're going to want to break. All the heat cycles that they go through. I mean, the exhaust coming out, you can see the exhaust is a different color than the rest of the truck, because it's like, you know, 900,000 degree air coming out of there. Whoa. And the reason I don't just take this line off and cap it, well, if you do, there's no oil going to the turbo and you're going to tear it up. You can't run them without oil in them. You'll burn them up. But if it's already burnt up. What if you run it with no oil and you damage it like permanent? I don't know. I'm just going to take this off to isolate the whole issue. Man alive. Gotta get this bad boy off. See that oil? Hopefully that's just in the turbo. I'm hoping that the main seal gave out. Because if it's the engine, we're gonna have to take a big hit selling this thing. I don't want to do that. Taking the drain pipe off. There's two 10 millimeters beneath the turbo that hold a drain pipe on. It comes in full pressure here and then just drains back into the crankcase. Socket? Yeah. Oh man. Thought that was going to be a lot harder. Unbelievable, actually. We're not out of the woods yet, though. Can't believe that. I thought those were going to break. They just looked like the kind of break. Okay. Oop. Okay. Yeah, there's tons of oil in the exhaust. Look at that. That's weird, dude. Where would it be coming from? Whoa. Alright, so I got a same size bolt, put a bunch of thread tape on it. I don't know if this is a 15-2. No, that's way bigger. I'm happy. It's just a turbo. All right. I guess this episode was diesels, and more diesels. It's really weird how life works because, you know, I always look for 12 valves all the time, and there was a stint in 2018, 2019 where I was buying a lot of them for good prices, and I haven't found any for engines or trucks in a year or two, and I found 4 in the span of a few weeks. You know, that's why you always got to be looking out for opportunities. You always got to be watching and waiting, because found that Cummins swap Ford, found that parts truck 2500 that we're going to do something with, found these 2 engines all in the span of like a week and a half, and then you won't find another deal on them for a year. Just got to be ready when stuff comes along. You know, you got to have cash on hand. You got to be willing to make a deal quick, and that's why I got these. I would put this up for sale, but I want to fix that valve cover issue. There's no valve cover and the bolts broke off in the junction block. So I do want to fix that before I put it up, but really it's ready to go. I mean, it's a good running engine. It's just a valve cover. This thing is pretty much ready to go. I got to clean up my mess and pressure wash it and stuff, but you guys don't need to see that. I mean, it's boring. These drivetrains are probably worth, I see people asking really weird money for them. There's a guy right now, who's got a complete 12 valve on Facebook. He wants $4,000 for it. Then he has the manual transmission. He wants another $2,200 for. So $6,200 for an engine and transmission. It's a lot. That's a lot. A little excessive, I think. They'll want $2,500, and it won't have the starter. It won't have the alternator. It won't have the air conditioning compressor for whatever that's worth. And these frickin' fan clutch, these fan pulleys for the fan clutch pulley that mounts to the engine, the part that actually bolts to the block. They're always missing, and they're $500. They're $500. They don't repop them in the aftermarket, so I think I'll probably ask $3,500 for these each for the whole complete Cummins drivetrain, knowing that they run good. So just so you guys can see what's out here, the '62 Cadillac Sedan DeVille is sold. A friend of mine bought this car from me, so he paid me for it. This is sold, ready, waiting in the wings to leave. The 79 Thunderbird in pretty dang good shape. Clean title. This is, I think I got it up for 2,800 bucks, 37,000 original miles. Nice car. Starts up. Drove it 1,400 miles from Nebraska to here in May. So this is a really good car. Hideaways work. The one owner 70 Ford, we lowered it to 6,200. No rust, no rust, no rust, but that one's gone. Clean title, 390, 4-speed, long bed, camper special, 6,200. Interior is good on this thing. You guys saw the video on it. If not, go a couple videos back and check it out. Clean truck. Still has the friggin' bench seat in perfect condition. Dash is in good shape. And then that has a second-gen Cummins drivetrain that I'm going to do another project on in the future, so that's not for sale. This bad boy is for sale. Again, I have it up for $95, but I'm willing to take offers. And also, don't forget, duct tape drags on Saturday, September 28th. Dad and I are going to be there, so make sure if you're thinking about going, to go. And lastly, Dad and I always appreciate you guys watching these videos. This year's been good as far as how the videos have done, and there's you guys commenting and subscribing and engaging with us. We're just happy with everything. So we really hope to grow the channel. I work very hard on these videos. We work hard on these cars, and I work hard editing them. I don't have a crew. I don't have nothing. Most people would be surprised to know I do all this on my phone. I don't have a computer. I film on it. I edit on it. I try very hard to make good videos so that we can grow the channel. So with that, guys, hope you enjoyed the Diesel Mania, and we'll see you in the next one.